Hey everyone, welcome to Professor Long's Lectures in Anatomy and Physiology. I'm Professor Bob Long. You're not going to see me in this video, but as I always say, I have a face made for radio, so you don't want to see me anyway. I'm going to go over this model. This is a model of the stomach wall, and then right after that, I'm going to go over a model of the small intestine. So I hope you can see very well here, but this is what we were drawing out on the board in a previous video. Let me get my camera set up just right so that you guys can see what I'm talking about, all right? So up here would be the lumen where we would have food and digestive contents. Out here would be the visceral peritoneum. So this is the stomach wall model, and I know for a number of reasons. Number one, these very large rounded folds are each called a ruga. And if you look very closely at the model, it's kind of hard to see, but I'm going to zoom in for a second and then I'm going to zoom back out. If I look really closely here, you see all these little cube-like structures or little columnar cells right on the edge? That is simple columnar epithelium, or the digestive epithelium, running right around here. And you can see the channels or grooves running down. In the pink area, this channel or groove is called the gastric pit. But in the yellow area down here, that same groove is called the gastric gland. The cells that curve up and up and down are the epithelium, and this yellow and pink tissue here underneath the cells would be called the lamina propria. So I have digestive epithelium, lamina propria, gastric pit, the groove, gastric gland, the same groove. Now let me zoom back out. So that hopefully you can see this. And I have to tilt the model a little bit, so bear with me, okay? As I tilt the model some, you can see these two layers of muscle tissue here would be the muscularis interna, inner circular, outer longitudinal, but together that's the muscularis interna. From there up is mucosa, so this is the submucosa. And then this is your muscularis externa, okay? Now, if you look carefully, the muscularis externa has 3 layers to it. Again, I'm going to tilt the model a little bit more. You can see from the mucosa and the muscularis mucosa, the submucosa, the fibers here run at angles. That's the oblique muscle. And the oblique muscle is not very thick. The rest of this here would be called the circular muscle. And then all of this would be the longitudinal muscle. Here we see the subserosa and the serosa. Okay? So I know from one angle it's real hard to see the muscularis interna, but I'm going to run through this model one last time, okay? And hopefully you can make out all the structures. All right, let me get my camera right. Sorry, I hope you didn't get dizzy and vomit. Now, the cells right on the edge are the digestive epithelium. The tissue underneath would be lamina propria. And then the groove in the pink area is called the gastric pit. The same groove in the yellow area is called the gastric gland. Muscularis interna, also called the muscularis mucosa, submucosa, oblique muscle, circular muscle, longitudinal muscle. All 3 layers together here would be called the muscularis externa. That's the subserosa and the serosa. So the major layer would be the major layer here would be the mucosa, submucosa, muscularis externa. The specific layers would be the epithelium, the lamina propria, muscularis interna, or the specific layers here would be oblique, circular, and longitudinal. Now, I'm going to set this model and this model close to each other. I'm going to change the angle of my camera. By the way, you can see the openings to all of the gastric pits here. All of these little dots are where the gastric pits would run down through those channels. Now, let me zoom out and show you these 2 models have roughly the same stuff, okay? Let me tilt this model a little bit, but I got to hold it. This pink outer layer here would be the digestive epithelium, the same as this. The white background here with all the blood vessels and the green stuff in it, that layer would be the lamina propria. The green things are called lacteals. These little grooves would be your intestinal glands or intestinal crypts. And then this dark layer right here running all the way across would be your muscularis interna, just like that. So all of that is mucosa. All of this is mucosa. This is the submucosa. This is the submucosa. This is my muscularis externa. Here's my muscularis externa. But one of the differences is on the small intestine model, I only have the circular muscle and the longitudinal muscle. I also have sandwiched between the submucosa and the circular muscle this green and white layer, which would be the submucosal plexus. And then this green and white layer here would be the myenteric plexus embedded in the muscle layers. Now, the small intestine has folds called plica, but I'm going to zoom in on this model a little bit. And again, please forgive me for all the bad camera work, but hopefully you can see a little bit more detail. You can see the cells right on the edge. That's the digestive epithelium. The white background would be the lamina propria. This is a lacteal. Here you can see the intestinal crypts. And then you can see the muscularis interna. Okay. Now, notice these are all shaped like little fingers sticking up. These fingers would form plicae. They're on the edges of the plicae, but each individual finger-like structure is called a villus. Villus means finger. So, hopefully you can see all the structures there. I hope you see all the muscle layers. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit more. Oops. And run through the layers one last time on this model. Digestive epithelium, lamina propria, and then the green thing would be a lacteal. Muscularis interna, all three layers would be the mucosa. Submucosa, submucosal plexus, circular muscle, myenteric plexus, longitudinal muscle. You can actually see the subserosa, but not the serosa. All right, listen, I know that's a lot. Remember, we have to do all of the respiratory and digestive systems, so make sure you learn all of these structures. Do it till you can't stand it. Do it till you understand it. Do it till you can teach it to someone else. I hope you had as much fun as I did. I'll see you in the next video.